Dostoevsky. 1. Dostoevsky put God down next to him on the table like a bottle of booze and guzzled. He retched and threw up, sobered up, and again was pulled to God like the bottle. Once, when Dostoevsky lay on the floor, an elderly man came to him. The elderly one, hearing him groan, got him up, laid him down on a hard bed, pulled his boots off his dirty feet, washed his mouth, combed out his elf-locked, vomit-filled beard, and stroked his cold-sweating brow. Dostoevsky opened his Tartaric eyes and asked, "Who are you?" And the elderly man disappeared. Dostoevsky approached the writing bench with shaky feet. The bottle was empty. He had drunk his God down dry. He took the pen in his hand and wrote and wrote and wrote. He feared lifting his head, knowing the elderly one stood over him, watched over him with his good-natured soberness. Dostoevsky wrote him too into his books. 2. The sadness of his life tied itself to those closest to him, to those who carried the burden of life. He bent low, listened to the lowliest grass blade, understood the silent pain of a dog. Man's burdens lay on his shoulders. He carried them with a sanctified sadness. He wrote everything into his books, the entire reckoning of suffering, all the complaints and accounts of his drunken ancestors who owned nothing and were beaten with all the inherited troubles of life. If Genesis was creation and reasoning, his books were Bibles of chaos. He gave them all his goodness, understanding, lit them with all his fiery craziness, and sent them down plodded roads, too lazy to dirty himself and climb to God. It was only us he wrote into his books with so much guzzling and vomited anger. We were the burning thorns in his eyes, but we ourselves were never consumed. We are not people, but Jews who accepted the life of a Sinai of unmistakable lustrous grief. Everyone thought of him as good, smart. Only we pictured him the fool.